I don't know how familiar with Burning Man, but they had this 747 plane that got converted into an arc horror at Burning Man, and I managed to like stand on the edge of the wing, get 1 bar signal, log into one of the servers, edit the code on the phone screen, and push it into production and push a bug fix. We wanted to throw a drum and bass party, so like, as underground as you can get, but Bristol's got a really good like underground scene. So I called an agency that represented some of the biggest DJs in that kind of scene. I was like, hey, you don't know me, but can I book your 4 biggest artists? And they were like, are you mental? Was to get a one-on-one before demo day, and Sam Altman was CEO at the time. And so I had this like one-on-one with Sam in this tiny little room. And the one thing I remember him saying to me was, your business isn't very sexy, because ticketing, we failed to raise money for years because ticketing was not sexy. Like people just thought we were trying to compete with Ticketmaster. It was too hard. Eventbrite already existed. So with that in mind, he was like, your business isn't very sexy, but if you do it right, you're going to make a lot of money.
The Tech Seeking Human podcast is a podcast about AI developed by humans. We're asking the big questions. Is AI going to cure cancer? Is it going to make our lives better? Will it help us improve our jobs? Or will it eliminate them altogether? Potentially even eliminate humans altogether.
Dave, you and drama.
Well, it's possible. So we set off on a journey to interview some of the brightest minds in the world. TED Talk speakers, thought leaders, keynote speakers, authors, journalists, people like
Max Tegmark, Trisha Wong, Hannah Fry, the list goes on.
See, Max actually thinks that the AI could potentially wipe out the human race.
Well, less than 50%.
Join us for the Tech Seeking Human podcast. Subscribe now, hit the like button. Hey everyone, welcome to the Tech Seeking Human podcast. I'm really excited about this one because it's pretty rare that I get an email, and when the email comes through, it's like, this guy is kind of taking on the festival scene. He's improving income for artists. He's kind of disrupting the monopoly of Ticketmaster. It's in the music scene, which I love. And it was an instant yes. Ritesh, welcome to the podcast.
Hey Dave, how you doing?
I'm really good, and I'm super jealous of your chair. I feel super inadequate here in my, what are these things called? The ones, all the standard office chairs. You know what? Stuff it. Hang on. If we're doing like, cool, wait, oh no, I'm going to be too low. Oh no, that's good. There we go. Now we're nearly matching. Hang on. Desk goes down. For anyone listening on the audio, I basically got up and swapped my chair for a big blue chair. And now I actually really like this. This is much better. Ritesh, welcome back to the Tech Seeking Human podcast. It's really good to meet you.
Likewise.
Give us a high level, mate. Like, I got pitched on this like disruptive Ticketfairy concept that you've got. You're a festival producer. You're an AI nerd. You're doing all sorts of interesting things.
All right. So I guess like background, I've been coding since I was 9 years old and started in 1989 on a Commodore 64 saving code to tape. Very early saw the internet evolve and come into, move from dialing into someone's computer directly to actually like distributed networks. So saw it right at the beginning. Started building software when I was 13, got my high school to adopt it at 13, and then another piece of software at 16. And then by the time I got to university in Bristol in the UK, I kind of was like, all right, this is okay. But I've already been doing this for, 5 years or something. And then I discovered the rave scene. And
how old were you? When did you discover the rave scene?
I mean, I kind of like at 17, 18, and then I got to Bristol, and Bristol was this like hub
I was checking if you're 18, but it's okay. Keep going.
Yeah. And then, I mean, honestly, back then people were going to underground warehouse raves when they were 15. So, it was a thing, but I was a little bit later than that. And I got put into this student house on the edge of town in Bristol, and it was like in the middle of nowhere, no sound restrictions, surrounded by a forest. and it was like a 30-bedroom house, and some guys in the house had turntables and a sound system, and we were like, right, we're gonna throw parties. And like you walk into this house, it's like this old like Georgian Victorian house, and there's a massive lobby area, and I was like, all right, that's a dance floor, someone's already got decks. Okay, we're just gonna try and get as many people to come to this thing as possible. And ended up getting like 400 or 500 people coming to the house party, and it went all night. And like it was a pretty epic party, and we did like 3 of those over the course of that year. And then I was like, okay, this is so much fun that I think I want to become a promoter.
Yeah.
And you end up realizing being a promoter is not fun.
Why not? No, firstly, I got to go back. Whose house was it?
It was a university house.
Okay. They were cool with you throwing like
Well,
rave parties?
they didn't really know, because there's one guy that was like the senior he was a student himself, but he'd been there for a few years and got like kind of promoted to managing the house in return for like not paying rent or whatever it was. And he was like, yeah, cool. As long as you ask my permission, you can throw a party.
Wow. And you charged people to go to this thing?
No, it was free, but like it was in the middle of the official university botanic gardens. Like we were surrounded by the botanic gardens, like landscaped, beautiful gardens. And then there's this house in the middle of it. We throw these parties and they become like, really, really notorious. And then I was like, right, gonna go and approach venues and see if they'll let me hire one. And then eventually we found one of the most like prestigious venues in Bristol. It's a place called the Trinity Centre, and it's like it's an old converted church, and it was known for raves. And they, for some reason, like my housemate and I decided to do this party, and they took a liking to us, and they're like, yeah, you can have a Saturday night in one of the best venues in the city. And so
why did they take a pun like that? How did they know?
No clue.
You just talked a good game.
Yeah, no idea, right? We were 19 when we approached this venue, right? And so I was like, all right, and we wanted to throw a drum and bass party. So like, as underground as you can get, but Bristol's got a really good like underground scene. So I called an agency that represented some of the biggest DJs in that kind of scene. I was like, hey, you don't know me, but can I book your 4 biggest artists? And they were like, are you mental?
Could be. Yep.
Yeah.
So let's do it.
And they were like, yep, cool, fine. And we announced the show only like 3 weeks before. Everyone's like, are you crazy? This is the biggest lineup there's been in Bristol like ever. Like, you're mental. You're going to lose so much money. I'm like, no, it's fine. We'll figure it out. Like, big impact is the way to go, right? So announced it. And then there was a line around the block with doors open, and the venue only holds like 700 people, and we had like 600 or 500 in the first 30 minutes or 45 minutes, like really crazy. And then I put my nerd hat on, and basically I'd been talking to a dude in like a music chat room before leading up to the gig, and I was like, oh, I'm throwing this party, and he was like a network engineer or something like that, worked for a data center or something, and I was like, I've got an idea. What if we live stream this? Are you willing to let me install streaming server software on your physical server? Because there was no cloud. This is pre-cloud. I was like, will you let me install this streaming software on your server? And he was like, yeah, fine. And I'll come down to the gig. So he drove down to the gig. And then I took from my university accommodation, I put my PC in the back of a car. And it was like a big tower, like huge thing, right? No laptops back then. And drove it down to the venue, put the computer in the back room, and basically took like 30 feet of audio cabling. I had to couple it in the middle because I couldn't find a cable long enough to go from the stage, and ran it and taped it down with black tape, and took it out of the mixer into the back of my Sound Blaster card on my PC.
Wow.
And then connected my 56K dial-up modem to my ISP.
I was going to say, how did you get the internet speed to do this?
So I literally
56K.
And did a 20K mono audio uplink to the streaming server software, and then I promoted the stream in chat rooms and forums, and had people connect to the server in the data center to do the stream. So all I needed was enough to send a high quality mono 20 kilobit stream to real server, and then
it didn't crash.
No, it worked. We streamed the whole thing all night.
That's incredible. That is absolutely incredible. 56K upload speed, and you managed to
Yep.
do a live stream.
Mhm.
And people tuned in? Did you have a
Yeah.
lot of people tuning into?
People tuned in, and they tuned in from all over the world, and there were people that actually then gigs that I did like later that year and the following year, people who were fans of the same scene. Like I remember these two girls from, I think, North Carolina, and they were doing a trip to the UK, and they drove down to one of my gigs because they'd seen the live stream, or they'd listened to the
Wow.
live.
Listen to it, because you wouldn't have been able to do an upload of video, right?
No, definitely not. Definitely not. Like, the hardware just wasn't there. But yeah, so
That's
we got
okay
this
back
like
in the day.
it was kind of cool because like built at a global community 25 years ago, like before like real like social media existed.
The fact that you said chat room, even at the start, took me way back. Took me back to the days of like,
Yeah,
my friend
IRC.
taught me the internet, like really early on. This is in 96. What year was this?
This was January 2000.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, so I went back to like 96 and I'm learning about email. Now, maybe it was 97 and I'm in chat rooms talking about, I took a video camera, an old VHS video camera in a suit jacket to a Pearl Jam concert. And my friend's uncle was the promoter, which we've got to get to the promotion part and why you don't like it too, by the way. And I need to find out about, actually, before I finish the story, the DJ thing, when they said you were mental, did you book the artist still though? Like they still went ahead with you?
Yeah.
Based
we
on
packed it
what
out.
premise? They told you were mental and then they went, how did
Well,
they?
I think Asian was just like,
I-
I'm getting business. I think when we announced the lineup, everyone thought we were mental because they were like, there was no way this gig is financially feasible.
Was it?
We actually broke even. Believe it or not, like we actually made our money back.
But it's not, you didn't make a profit.
Yeah, but that's where we come to the story because like over time you realize the promoters don't make a profit, and that's why it's like a thing that is
Interesting.
not fun.
Why is that?
So this will kind of illustrate why Ticketfairy was originally started and why it's important. Is that once you've done it for so long, you realize that 1 in 4 events will actually make a profit, and the rest will either break even or lose.
Wow. So if you're paying, is this across like what type of artists, like what ticket prices? Because immediately everyone these days are going like, but you pay like $500 a ticket to see Gracie Abrams or Taylor Swift or something. Surely they're making money.
So,
but we're going down down into not that level.
So think about the parallel of a tech startup, right? A tech startup with a founder who initially bootstraps and puts their own money in. And they lose money for 5 years. They might get funding, they might not. Even with funding, they're still not profitable. Like, some companies are not profitable for a decade until they IPO, right?
Yep.
But it's very much like founder vision. They've decided to bring a product to market. They understand what they're passionate about. They understand who their audience is. They love it so much that they're willing to put themselves through this pain, right?
This is my world. This is what I live right now.
The promoter is exactly that. This is my vision for my event. This is what I want to showcase musically. I don't care if I have to subsidize it with my day job. That's okay. I want the highest quality product. I will overspend to create the highest quality product until I get to a point where I'm sustainable. It's a one-to-one parallel.
What are the largest events that you've done as a promoter? Like talk about scale and what? Yeah.
Not bigger than 2,000 people, but like I currently produce a 4-day international destination festival, flying in 80 artists and risking hundreds of thousands of dollars. So sometimes it's not necessarily about the number of people, but the amount of revenue the amount of money that you're like investing into a gig.
Yeah. Okay. And is this the premise for like where? So if we go back in history, what were you studying at university?
I studied computer science, but because I discovered events, like basically I was like, well, I've already been building software for 5 years. This is boring. I'm just going to like immerse myself into the music scene.
That's awesome. That is so awesome. Because it's one thing to have like, there are so many people that work in tech that like music, like me included. I have like albums for anyone who's listening. I have albums all over my wall and I produce music, bad music, but I produce it.
I mean, like,
and
tech scene finished at Burning Man, right? Like they've all been there.
yeah. Yeah, and so like that's awesome that then you follow a passion. So give us the origin story of like, so you're doing these production, you host these festivals, and then what we were going to get to and talk about is the fact that you've come up with a new ticketing system for festivals, and I would assume you've done this again through like test and learn. In the same
Yeah,
way you did your producing was test and learn and
yeah.
gambling and having a go and experimenting and keep going.
Ticketfairy was kind of a early 2010s when we first launched. So 2011 we launched an alpha, and the kind of light bulb moment, like there's always an inception of a startup, right? Like what is the one thing that like popped into your head where you're
Yeah.
like the world can be better or an industry can be better. And at that point I'd already produced 450 events of various sizes, right? And I was like, this is amazing when it goes well. So like, you know, if there's 1,000 people in the room and they all bought into your vision and your venue is full, it's the biggest buzz in the world. And then sometimes you get 20 people in a room that holds 300 and it sucks.
That's my career.
And it's a power law in terms of like, well, the events that go well are they're so fulfilling that you're willing to keep on plowing money into it. And again, it's the startup founder mentality, right? And so I was working as an engineer, and at that point I was working as an engineer in multiple ad tech firms. And I was like, okay, so I know how to build big data systems. I know how online attribution works. I know how click tracking works. I know how cookies work. I understand scale. I'm building AWS infrastructure for ad tech companies and building server clusters. And I'm still throwing parties, even like 10 years in. And I was like, wait a second, the thing that can really solve the revenue and like, I guess like making losses for that the promoters have to endure is if you marry ticketing with ad tech. And so the idea that came into my head was, well, let's build like, an Eventbrite / Ticketmaster type workflow. You make an event, you put it live, you publish the link, your initial attendees go and buy the ticket. But at the end of it, there's going to be a twist. When someone finishes paying for the event they're buying a ticket to, usually you just have a generic confirmation page and then you close the tab, you find your ticket in 3 months or wherever it is, and you go and present it at the door of the venue. I was like, what if the twist when you finish paying was that the ticketing platform would offer you your money back immediately if you could help drive more sales for that gig?
Oh, it's a pyramid scheme.
It's
pyramid marketing.
It's a virtuous pyramid scheme.
Wow.
So basically, we built the world's first integrated ticketing and referral marketing platform, and did it so that someone who'd actually purchased a ticket to an event like a concert or a festival that they genuinely wanted to go to, because they liked who was performing or they liked the experience or whatever, once they're bought in, you just have a call to action, and the call to action in marketing is the thing that drives everything. If there's no call to action, people don't do anything. So it's like, if there's a call to action that says, well, you're going to this gig and you want to go with other people, and you don't want to go by yourself, but you've just paid $100 or $50 or 200 or whatever. You've assigned value to this gig, but you want other people to come with you. And if you've assigned value to it, you're going to feel comfortable actually promoting it because you think other people should go as well to see your favorite band or see your favorite DJ. It's completely natural.
Yeah.
But what the event promoter is desperately looking for is lowest cost of acquisition of customers. So instead of plowing all their budget into ads, they should be returning some of it to their fans instead at a higher ROI and higher conversion rates, because it's qualified peer-to-peer. If I say to you, Dave, I'm going to this thing and I think you'd have a really good time, we should all be going.
Yep.
You're going to trust me and you're going to know that you've got at least one person to go with. Like, you're not going solo.
Yep.
So
it
you
makes
just
sense because you've tapped into the psyche of everyone that goes to music. Is they never want to go alone. And like the last gig I went to, I'm like, this artist is incredible, and I've sent a message to 10 people and go, we should go.
And the thing is, I bet you there's people on the fence who really like an artist, but they don't have anyone to go with. And I might not know that you're going to a gig, or you might not know I'm going to a gig. We both want to go, but you just don't pull the trigger because you think you're going to have to go by yourself. So the moment I broadcast it and tell you I've already committed, it's just lowers your barrier to going, right?
Yeah. But
It's
what's the
almost
percentage loss? Like if you do you net out for a particular event and you're giving away a certain percentage of tickets to encourage people to bring their friends along? I mean, you're helping because you're getting like-minded people to all go to the event and people feel inclusive and so it creates a better community. But on the financial side, like how much you mentioned that you obviously have cost of advertising across various platforms and Facebooks and the like. How does it net out in the end?
So the way we structure it is that if you can drive 8 ticket sales, you get all your money back and you get a ticket for free, right? And if you generate 2, you get 10% of your ticket cost, and if you generate 5, you get 30%. So it's kind of there's tiered targets, right? So you can always earn something relatively easily, but you have to do a bit of work to be able to get the free ticket. And everyone goes, oh well, if you're giving away a free ticket, if you generate 8 sales, like it's going to cost me like 12% of my revenue, right? It's going to be like so expensive. It's always less than 1%.
And I'm not going to word of mouth. I'm
not going to explain exactly why that works, but it's you end up spending 1% of your revenue, and we average a 15 to 25% increase in sales.
Wow.
And the ROI is between 20 and 30x, which you're never going to get on Facebook.
Huh. Yeah. It's awesome. It's an organic way of marketing tickets. And you're far more likely to accept and go if it comes from someone who has similar tastes or is a friend, etc., versus seeing an ad and going,
Yeah, absolutely. And then we build an internal social graph. We've got a kind of a tree of discovery, revenue, critical revenue paths, who potentially knows each other. It gets really fun.
Wow. How many festivals have you? So when did you launch this?
We went we built an alpha into that like an MVP in 2011. Had to bootstrap for 4 years because no one would fund it. Imagine trying to go to market and going, I'm going to bring a new ticket company to market. Will you please invest? And they're like, nope.
Yeah. Good
so
luck.
We bootstrapped for a really long time. We got a UK government loan of about 30 grand that we used.
Wow.
And we were really lucky because I'm an engineer, right? So there was no dev cost. So it's just hack and keep iterating, run it through your own events, ask friends to then eventually use it. And then we didn't get our first check until almost 4 years in. And it came from the founder of Twitch.
Incredible. So they invested. Well, he invested.
So so Justin Can, the guy that strapped a camera to his head and live streamed his life, and that eventually evolved into Twitch. I met him at a conference and I was asking advice on how we can scale. And he was and he'd exited Twitch the year before. I think it was for about 700 million to Amazon. And I kind of booked an office hour session at a conference as an advice thing. And I was like, look, we're starting to get some of these, we just signed an event that's 10,000 people and there's only 2 of us and we're having to do all the customer service. And it's we're trying to, it's hard. And we just that week hit the first $1 million in ticket sales through the platform, overall. And after he exited Twitch, he really got into electronic music and started building these streaming platforms and artist discovery. And it was just at the kind of, I guess, perfect timing where he was really into dance music. And he's like, well, this sounds really interesting. Maybe I'll invest. Let's do lunch. And so we went and had a one-on-one lunch. And he's like, okay, tomorrow I want you to do a platform demo. And he goes, I'm going to bring a mate of mine. And his friend was one of the executives at Zynga, or former executives at Zynga in gaming. And so I did the demo, and it was it was an ugly product back then. And he was like, this works, but it needs a bit of a polish. Send me a deck and I'll see if I can round up $500,000 through my mates. And we'd spent 4 years getting rejected, almost 4 years getting rejected by every investor. And you kind of learn that if it's not an instant yes, it's a no, and they're just being polite. So I ghosted him and didn't send him the deck.
Wow.
And then I ended up in San Francisco 4 or 5 months later, and I just happened on the last day, I emailed him because I remembered he existed. I emailed him saying, hey, I'm in town. Do you want to catch up? And he goes, cool, let's do a coffee. And we sat down at this coffee shop in San Francisco, and the first thing he said to me was, "Why didn't you take my money back then?" I was like, "Well, you didn't say yes." And he was like, "Fine, I'll write you a check today. Stick around, and we'll raise the rest of the rest."
What? Come on. Are you kidding?
And then what ended up, and then so that in 2 weeks I raised this 485K angel round. But it was ridiculous because he opened up his network, right? So then our little angel round, having been rejected for years, was like Justin, Emmett Shear, who was the then current CEO of Twitch, Kevin Lin, who was the COO of Twitch, Daniel Gross, who is the current head of AI and machine learning at Apple, Steve Huffman, who is the CEO of Reddit, and Amit Mahajan, who created Farmville. And they all came in on this angel round, and it was ridiculous.
I lost you for a sec. That is
Yeah,
incredible. So you got incredible amount of funding. Did you, when you were going to San Francisco, you said you didn't, you emailed him out of the blue. You weren't going there for funding. Were you going there for funding?
So we'd not had a single investor yet at that point, right? So I managed to, I went to a little a mini conference in the Virgin Islands of all places. And I was like, well, if I'm going all the way from London to there, I might as well book a week in San Francisco or, however long it was, to see if I can still get any investors. And I did it, and I failed. I didn't get any investors on that trip. And the night before I was leaving, I just remembered to email him, and that's how the angel.
Oh my God. That is so. When are you writing a book, by the way?
We've got enough. So my brother's my co-founder. We've got enough material for 3 books. It's been a while.
Easy. If you were summing it up, if we were to end the podcast now, I just met this guy, right? And it seems like he has just randomly found his way with his passion for music, his skill in engineering, his ability to market, and he's put all 3 together. And by circumstance and by the sounds of it, you're a good person. Because people don't necessarily just invest in the technology, they're investing in a person and their passion for it. He must have seen that in you, right?
I guess. It's very kind of you to say that. I guess it's I'm quite transparent with a lot of things. Someone who's just sold his company to Amazon for $700 million goes, "Why did you ghost me? Why didn't you pay my money?" I'm like, "Because you didn't say you were busy."
I was too busy.
Well, I honestly didn't think he wanted. I thought he was just being polite.
That's unbelievable. Have you told him that?
I told him that I thought he didn't say yes at the time, so I would just assume that he wasn't interested.
That's amazing. Okay, so now you've got you accidentally run into nearly $500,000. What happens after that?
So off the back of that, we got into the Y Combinator program, and so we did the YC program, and then raised from other people after that. And so over the years now, we've been funded by people like Ariel Zuckerberg, who's Mark Zuckerberg's sister. She's a VC in her own right. Steve Chen, who's the founder of YouTube, CTO of YouTube. He invested. We have Brock Pierce, who's chairman of the Bitcoin Foundation, Craig Sellers, who's inventor of the stablecoin, Kevin Novak, who's head of machine learning and data science at Uber. His fund has put in twice. And then more recently, more on the kind of blockchain Web3 side. We've just built this really nice set of smart investors, evolved the company to be what I always wanted it to be, which was a full stack revenue platform for the events industry. And now we've now we're beyond that, but we hit the $300 million of ticket sales through the platform relatively recently, USD. So that's 500,000 Aussie, 500 million Aussie, sorry.
It's a lot of Aussie.
It's a lot of Aussie.
It's a lot. I'm in the US now, so you can talk to me in US dollars. I understand it.
And we kind of got it to a point where it's this full enterprise platform, full CRM, event marketing tech. It's really, really complex, and global team. So we've got 35 people at the moment, and that's about to expand. And one of the reasons I got in touch with you is that it's kind of the right time for incorporating AI into the events industry in a way that goes beyond kind of generative AI and content, because like, yeah, people have been doing that for a few years now, right? Like,
Hmm.
cool, you can use ChatGPT to write your event press release and maybe make
Hmm.
a little bit of artwork. Like, that's cool, great. Use Canva AI, great, perfect. You've made your artwork without needing a designer. But it's not really something that is prevalent in the back end of the events industry in terms of ops. And so, if you think about where things are going, it's not just content generation. It's now like leverage of workforce, leverage of resources, um, vertical AI in businesses. And so that's where we're going. And it's a big opportunity.
So you're embedding AI into your platform to make it easier for festivals to essentially run their festivals more efficiently.
Yeah, so all layers of the business. We're going like, okay, where are all the human elements? And you got to, I mean, most people won't know this, but like, say a festival will lose money for the first 5 years. It will break even at year five, like 6 or 7. Um, the core team is only 2 or 3 people, and then everyone else is contractors. Everyone else is like short-term staff leading up to the show.
Yep.
Um, so there's no budget for internal dev teams or engineers or
Yep.
anything like
Super
that, right?
lean.
Like
Yep.
it's as lean as it can get.
Yep.
And so, for us, we've always been like, we want to be a revenue generation platform for the industry. Any way you can increase sales, increase conversion rates, bring down cost of anything. That's what we've done over a decade, right? More than
Yep.
that decade. But we've never been able to solve like, staffing. Like if you can't afford salaries, you can't afford salaries. Maybe we
Yep.
can increase revenue a bit, but that's going to take you to a 3-person team instead of a 2-person team.
Yep.
So like now it's kind of like, well, can I give that 2 or 3-person core team the same personnel resources as a big company that's got 20 or 30 full-time staff?
And the
That's
answer is
where it
yes through
becomes like
AI.
yeah, and that's where it's like I guess like an uh not equality. Equality is the wrong word, but being able to stand shoulder to shoulder, and like you and I are kind of shoulder to shoulder right now, differently,
Just
but
trying.
but like give these independents and these kind of passionate teams that
I
aren't
love it.
cash rich a way to execute as almost as well as the companies that are cash rich.
What are the typical use cases that you would be able to use this AI for? What sort of
So
things are you eyeing off or can do already?
think about where things are going at the moment, like in terms of um outside of content, when LLMs are applied to real business,
Hmm.
one of the areas where it's been really obvious that this is going to become a big thing is legal, say, right? So like the paralegal is not necessarily going to have if a law firm had 20 paralegals, they're probably only going to need 2 now, right? Like an AI savvy senior paralegal that can then drive the AI legal platforms and LLMs to either interpret documents or create documents. And that kind of like contracting work is pretty heavy in the events industry.
Yep. And
So,
expensive.
and expensive, and manual transcription and manual like extracting all the bits you need for the ops.
Mm.
Um, and everything is still done through email threads, spreadsheets. Like there isn't that much structure, and
Yep.
there's not enough manpower to input things into systems because you just run out of hours. So we're trying to think of it in the sense that like, okay, initially we came in as ad tech, then it became, well, let's be the data scientist equivalent and give the event producers as much of that as we can so they don't need engineers. And now it's like, okay, well, what about the jobs that are not technical? Like, can we help them leverage non-technical jobs as well?
Yep.
So,
It's
it's exciting.
it's funny because what I want to know also is like the size of festival that you're targeting or what would be the right audience. Like what sized festival would make sense for your platform?
I mean, we're self-service as well, right? So like you can go and sign up as an event organizer. You could be running a small gig, a nightclub, a big festival. Like you can just go in and make an account. And so for me, like
Wow.
even the small independents, if we can give them leverage, that's great.
Yeah.
But the festivals are where like the specialism is quite important, because if it goes wrong, a festival producer loses their house. And
Mm-hmm.
if that is something that we can assist
Mm-hmm.
and make sure that like the festival producer is not losing their house,
Mm-hmm.
then that's important. Because there's what a lot of people don't understand in terms of the psyche of someone who produces events is that if your gig cost $500,000 to produce, but you only made 300 grand in revenue and you've got a $200,000 gap, what you're going to do, there's the sunken cost thing, right? It's like, okay, well, I know I've built this amazing event. Everyone who went loved it. They don't know that my costs were that high. They just thought that it was a great gig.
Yep.
Like that gig you're going to that has 5,000 people in a field probably needed 10,000, but you still thought it was really busy,
Yep.
right? You don't really know the internal mechanics of the finance. So basically, if you're already 2, 3, 4, 5 years into running your event and you've built up a brand and you lose 200K on one show, you don't stop, and you can't get VC, and you don't have a hard asset to lend to borrow against, right? That's
Yep.
that it's not a venue or anything like that. You just rented a field for a weekend.
Yep. Yep.
So what do you have? You have your house. That's the only hard asset you have. So you remortgage it, or
And it's usually people that are like passionate about the music industry and they want to share their love for music, and these people are losing out as a result of it. That's a really
yeah.
sad twist to
And
the
so,
story.
and the thing is, unless you pay those bills, like there's only so many artist booking agencies in the world, right? And
Yep.
so some of them represent hundreds of potential people that you'd want to book.
Yeah.
So you don't pay those invoices, you get blacklisted by the agency, and word gets
Yeah.
around that you don't pay your
Crap.
bills, so they're not willing to
And then you're
perform.
out.
So you're
Yeah. Like
gone.
the Fire Festival is a good one.
Right, exactly. Like who would trust that, right?
I
And
heard a rumor
so,
they're doing it again though.
oh no, but they did, and it got cancelled again.
Really?
Yeah.
Well,
I
third time lucky?
don't know.
I doubt it.
But and so in that scenario, right, as any credible founder would do, you sell your house, you go and pay those outstanding bills for the artists and your vendors and whatever else. And then here's the thing that's so messed up. You decide that you're going to go and do it again, because next year you'll get that much closer to breaking even.
Oh, it's like gambling. You keep coming back until you can think you're going to win.
But incrementally, you are building this brand. You are getting, but your margins are increasing,
Yeah.
or your losses are
Okay.
decreasing, right? So
Yeah.
if you know that you've got a trajectory to breaking even and then eventually making a profit, and the timeline is 5 or 6 years, so you have to find a way to pay those bills.
Yeah. Yeah, so
So
you're tapping in, like with this AI, it's
yeah,
like if super efficient, because you think through what you can do now. You can build websites with the AI, you can do all the artist profiles. The origin of this, as you were talking about it, it took me back to 10 years ago, 15 years ago. I started a website business building websites on WordPress, and I got contacted by a festival, Port Fairy Festival in Victoria, and super small organization, and everything that you just articulated is exactly and I actually had super reduced prices because I was just like, this is a passion project for me. I really like this music. I really want to help this festival. So I was building their website, but yeah, looking through how they do the ticketing, and they have all these artists, and they got to do all the artist pages, and they got to do this email automation, and they got to do ticket fulfillment. They have a database that they need to maintain. There's all these things, and there's just not that many people. It really
right.
surprised me that their brand was so great and everyone knew about it, but behind the scenes, it was stuck together with sticky tape.
And it's the same with most startups, right? If you think about most tech companies, like if you read all the case studies and like the books, well, not necessarily books, but like the stories that people say in the Uber team talk about, like even up until IPO, there's crazy stuff that happens in startups that you never see, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of things are held together by sticky tape. And festivals over time learn their efficiencies, they learn their ops and all those kind of things. But like, I'm going to give you and nothing's predictable. So I'll give you an example. I produced a 4-day festival in Bali earlier this year, right?
Yeah.
of my own. It's the brand I started in 2000. I revived it and now started producing festivals under that brand. So
Yeah.
did a destination festival in Bali, 4-day event, beautiful beach club owned by a billionaire tech founder. Marketed the event so that like half the people actually flew in from Australia, or the punt on the
Yeah.
ticket buyer side, right?
Yep. Makes sense. It's cheap
And
to do that. We used to go to Bali all the time from Australia.
yeah, exactly. But I flew like 75 artists from the UK, spent a lot of money doing it, to perform at the festival, including a 20-piece orchestra from London.
What?
And tickets were selling really well.
Did you fly them economy or premium economy?
No, yeah, I mean, they flew economy, it was fine. But no, and everyone was like, oh my God, this artist lineup is so huge. And it's like, it's like the venue is incredible and it's beautiful. Like there's a swimming pool with a water slide that goes to the downstairs swimming pool with a DJ booth that looks over the ocean. Like it's insane, right?
Wow.
So on track to do really well, made back all the investment. Like, this is like years in. What happens 2 days before the festival?
Oh no. Something local with the Bali. Oh, volcano.
Volcano.
Oh no.
Volcano eruption 2 days before the festival started. And I start getting notifications saying all flights from Australia, New Zealand, and Asia are cancelled. Every single one.
Shut the front door. Then what?
So the punters so the punters who were flying from Australia rallied. There were people who had already bought tickets and started rebooking themselves on flights flying through Kuala Lumpur and Singapore and various random cities, and spent money to get themselves to the gig, which was incredible. But imagine how many people couldn't afford to do that.
Yeah.
Got skeptical that the DJs wouldn't show up because if their flights were cancelled, so were other people's. Imagine how many people. I think, we ended up having 1,500 people a day, but that should have been 2,000, 2,500. And the tickets were like $200 US each, right? So that's like 150 grand straight away that like fell through a hole, right?
Yeah. Thanks to a volcano.
All this
That was
like
an
massively high.
unforeseen.
Exactly. And that is what every promoter goes through. You're going to have a sellout gig. Wait, it poured down with rain. Everyone decided to stay in and cuddle on the couch.
Yeah. Well, the band recently that played in Boston, and for some reason they said the stage was unsafe. So they cancelled both nights of the shows at
Yeah.
Fenway Park, which I was like, wow, they've done that many gigs at Fenway Park. How was this gig impacted by a stage issue? Anyway.
Right. Right. And then you've got, so it's like even the things that are just like really well planned that are not held together by sticky tape, they can still have issues that just really mess them up and they'll it can fold. Like Tomorrowland recently, their main stage caught on fire and burned down, and they were able to like pull it in last minute with a temp stage. But that's like 500,000 people.
Wow. Did you make a profit on the Bali gig?
Would have done if the
sure.
volcano didn't get in the way, right?
Are you going to do it again?
Yes.
What are the odds of another volcano hitting just
Yeah,
as you're doing the festival?
You go, think of the mindset, right? Like, I'm like, oh, well, that could have bought a flat in cash. It doesn't matter. Cool, we'll do it again.
Oh, man. You're incredible. Why did you... How did that idea come from? Well, where did that idea go? Like, let's... You've got 75 people coming from the UK. Admittedly, there's not the most beautiful places in the UK to go, but Bali is a long way away. Very close for Australia, but it's a long way away.
I moved to Mexico during lockdown, like in 2021, and we launched Ticketfairy into Mexico, got a bunch of venues in Tulum as clients, and I convinced one of them to let me do the festival there, and then did it there for a couple of years. And I was on business in Bali and got talking to this venue, and I was like, oh, let me show you this festival we do in Mexico. And they were like, this would be perfect for our beach club. And so that's what happened.
Wow. Man, you don't have a family, do you? You're flying around everywhere doing festivals. Are you on your own?
My co-founder is happily married with 2 lovely kids, and he's my brother. So like, I get to be great with my niece and nephew, but yeah, you're right.
Go on, sorry. I'll cut you off.
It's the single founder, unfortunate, like, there's there's room for startup and family life, and often that you can't do both.
You passionate about what you do?
I love it. Love
I
it.
can
I think
tell.
that it's
What?
like, what do you want to see in
Go
the
on.
world? You have to make it.
Huh. What's next?
Oh, what's next? Yeah, so the AI is a big deal. And we're about, I like been working on this for a while, but we're basically about to launch a way for festivals to get working capital through the platform, so that that money they need to put down for the artists, they can actually get funded through us and then pay it back when their ticket sales start. So that's going to be a really big deal.
As in, you provide the capital?
We're partnering with credit partners, but yeah,
Right.
we will be the facilitator. And like, often it's a catch-20. It's like a chicken and egg issue with a gig, right? Like, you're not going to sell tickets until you announce the talent, but you're not allowed to announce the talent until you've paid the deposit and contracted them.
Got it.
So, where what comes first? And it's like, well, you need the money.
So
So
presumably they have to provide some sort of like history of
yeah.
being
It's
able
not
to
going to
book
be like,
talent.
you can't, if you've never
Not
run
like
a gig.
you.
Yeah, you absolutely need the history. But
Yeah.
if you know what you're doing, then, let's get you funded. Let's give you the marketing tech. Let's give you the automation. Let's give you the AI, and actually bring you into a full stack platform that is gonna do as much as possible to help you generate that revenue and pay back the funding you got.
So your vision is just more people going to festivals and enjoying music, and you're
I
making it
mean,
happen through your platform.
look, here's the thing. Life is too boring to work a 9 to 5 and go to bed. Like, you need to, like, the entertainment industry is really important. And the big issue is that the people that promote those gigs are at the very bottom of the food chain. They get paid last, right? Like, you have to pay all your bills for years and years and years until one day you might get some scrap of money. And again, it's a one-to-one thing with startup founders, right? A tech founder is going to be paying themselves much lower salaries than their employees. They're going to think, okay, I've got equity, so that's cool. At any given point, everything could collapse and they're left with nothing. When they have an exit, the bulk of it's going to go to VCs. It's tough for founders. It's no different in entertainment. And I think it's important that there is a level of support that helps those companies to become successful, because at the end of the day, if a festival owner folds and they go out of business, then there's a really big economic impact on the location, on the actual city or town that festival is in. So, there's Coachella is in a town called Indio in California, right? And those 2 weekends that Coachella happens, and then Stagecoach afterwards. So, there's say 4 weekends that the festivals happen. It's the entire economic output of that town. All the hotels, all the restaurants, the taxi drivers, like everyone, right? So through one business folding, that might actually impact 200 other businesses that are hotels, that are independent vendors, that are hairdressers, because they've just lost their peak revenue. So if I can bring in the tech that keeps those events businesses alive, it has a much bigger impact than just, oh, that party is not happening anymore. It could actually collapse the economy of a town.
Which then would lead me to the assumption of, like, particularly during COVID, we had trouble, like take Melbourne, for instance, as a city, but other cities that I went to, like San Francisco, looks like a ghost town in the actual city itself.
Yeah.
Some of these cities are they are begging for people to come back to the city.
Yeah.
And so I would almost envisage that it's an opportunity, particularly if you could provide the tech, for festivals to be able to go to the government to get some support to run these festivals, to get people back into cities and get the economies going again.
So it happened kind of as the COVID recovery was happening. There was a lot of government support globally for venues that couldn't open during the lockdowns and things like that. And and there were big government funds that did actually do that. And then for a couple of years, like say 2021, 2022, the events industry boomed, maybe even 23. And then last year, what happened is that the events industry went into a downturn again for independents. Like, the Taylor Swifts are fine, but
Yeah. Clearly.
but the independents started struggling again, and it was basically
Yep.
a result of the cost of living crisis. And so
Mm.
now in the economy, like last year, 60 festivals in the UK shut down. And it's because all of the buying patterns on the consumer side have shifted to last minute because everyone's got bills to pay. They're not being particularly, I guess, like, I don't even know the word. I guess aggressive with
They're being
spending.
diligent. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're cutting back because the cost of living is so high. So
Yeah.
entertainment is one of the first things to go. So I can't afford to go
Yeah.
to the
So what happens
festivals.
now is like, I'm not going to buy a ticket to a gig that I don't know if I can go to because I used to do that, but I don't anymore.
Yeah.
So now basically 50, almost every gig in the world, 50% of the sales happen week of show or day of show.
Stressful.
So
To
now
run a
there's no cash
festival.
flow. And if there's no cash flow,
Yeah.
you can't announce your talent. If you can't announce your talent, you're not going to sell tickets. And so you have to shut down.
Hence the credit that you've come up with.
Hence the credit.
Man, you're super smart. You're
I'm
not
not.
worried about AI at all, are you? You're not. I often ask people, like, are you worried about I'm worried about the music industry, but I leave this podcast going, I'm not worried anymore because you're leveraging AI to help independents and help people get to festivals and make it a success. It's like it's a good story associated with the
It
increase of
is. It is a
technology.
good story. And, like I was on a panel recently about AI in music production. And it's like, okay, well, is it going to be something whereby now you can just write a prompt and create an award-winning track? And people who've never had any musical prowess can now become music producers, and it's going to take an hour to create a hit. And it's like, okay, cool, you do get that element of it, right? But really what you want is the tools for people who know what they're doing to give them
Make
leverage
more.
on layers of what they have, right? Like, okay, cool, well, I can now generate a vocal hook because I can run XYZ thing through this model. And now that's a layer in the sequencing software that I've been using for years, but I didn't have to go out into a studio and do 20 takes of it and rent a room for a day. I was able to find that component that I needed, right?
Yep.
So if you're a professional, the AI is your friend, right? You want to leverage those tools.
Yep. That's
And
like
really, it's just
it's like the analogy of the developer. It's like, anyone can be a developer, but a good developer with AI will be far more productive than someone who has never developed before.
and think about what's happening with vibe coding at the moment, right? So like people are building apps using the vibe coding tools. So, like the Replits and the Lovables and whatever else. But then what happens? Security holes because they're a novice developer and they didn't think to build in for that.
Yep.
Whereas if you're an accomplished developer and you understand security in code and database authentication and code injection and all the different things that you are supposed to learn as a professional, then you're going to make sure that when your AI code assistant or your vibe coding platform actually writes code for you, that you've already spec'd in advance that you need it to cover all those things. And so you have that 10 or 100x leverage, right?
Yep.
But
what tech stack did you build your platform on?
I'm a PHP guy, like, and it's good to hire for because everyone, well, not everyone, but, over the years, like, it's a tried and tested skill, right? Like you can build on WordPress, you can create your own hobby sites, but you can do very serious PHP. And so, that was one of the reasons that I chose that. But if I was going to start from scratch, I might choose like a Golang or a Rust or something like that as well. So like it just depends. I think it's always a case of like best tool for the best job and can you hire those people? If you say you build on Erlang, which is like, really robust technology, but you can't hire an Erlang developer because you just can't find them. Or if you are going to find them, they're going to cost you 500 grand. Then that's not the right technology. So it's always got to be like best tool for the job.
Okay, last couple of questions, Ritesh, because aside from first time I've been able to get into a lounge chair in a long time and actually feel like I'm sitting at a bar having a chat to someone that is speaking my language. What is the next step for you? How are you scaling? The other question I wanted to know is, who are you competing with? Are you competing against any monopolies that are making it difficult for you?
So let's answer those in reverse, right? So like the monopolies, or what are called the monopolies, they're called that because they own they're kind of like, well, they own the venue, they're the talent, they're the promoter, they own the ticket platforms. They're vertically integrated businesses, right? And
Yep.
and they didn't start that way. They evolved that way through either opportunity or necessity. So
Yep.
what a lot of people don't know is that Live Nation that owns Ticketmaster. Live Nation is the world's largest concert promoter,
Mm-hmm.
but they they didn't own Ticketmaster to start with. They were just the concert promoter. 40% of their tickets used to go unsold, and so they were a loss-making business. And they
Mm.
bought Ticketmaster to create the revenue balance to become a profitable business. And then they started buying the venues so they could earn from the bar and then the parking. And so
Yeah.
it's really, they kind of built layers and layers onto the flywheel. Now,
Yep.
if I come in and go, I'm going to compete with Ticketmaster and charge 19% fees instead of 20% fees, that doesn't work, right? That's just not a thing. And every ticketing startup that tries to do this thinks they can go in with lower pricing when they don't realize that, like, that's not a barrier you can penetrate in any meaningful
Yep.
way, right?
Yep.
So I would rather think about the market that is everyone else, which is still billions and billions of dollars, but all those people have fragmented toolkits, lack of resources, teams that are too small, don't have engineering teams, and don't necessarily have access to credit,
Yep.
and go in with the best possible thing we can do to help those companies actually survive.
Makes sense. So everyone outside, so you basically aren't really competing with Ticketmaster. You're going at a lower level, people that aren't in certain venues that are more organically grown and helping them.
Yeah, and
The
we still
independent
have clients.
artists.
Yeah, we still have clients who do millions of dollars a year in ticket sales. It's not like that we only
Yeah.
we're at the smaller of the market. We still work with events that are tens of thousands of people or millions of dollars. But the thing is that, like, to think you're going to compete with the monopolies, it's just something that doesn't happen, right?
Yeah.
Um, the core thing is help everyone else.
I love it. Um, what advice would you give to your 18-year-old self?
There's two things that I kind of live by. Well, I guess three things. The be good to people is a given, so let's not be boring. But the two other things are leave the house and good things happen. I really stand by that, because there were times in my life where I've just, like, not really been in the mood, but I'm forcing myself to go and do something anyway or people cancel on me on a social occasion, but I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to let someone else control whether I do that. And I'm still going to go and do what I was planning on doing. And then I've done it and left the house and, like, met the biggest client that I've ever had, or, been introduced to an investor or whatever it is. That like, make your own luck thing is really important. So leave the house and good things happen. That's super important. And the other one, if you want advice, ask for money. If you want money, ask for advice.
Wait a second. I've got to think about this one. If you want advice, ask for money. If you want money, ask for advice. Yeah.
So think about it. If I
Yeah.
said to you, "Hey Dave, I've just met you, but can you give me $1 million?" You can be like, "No, but I'm going to give you advice on how to run your business, so, like, you can become just." But if I'm like, "Dave, I really value your opinion. Like, I'm doing this thing and we're scaling it, and like, here are my bottlenecks right now, and, like, here's how I think I can solve them," and then you kind of, like, you understand my thought process,
Yeah.
and then you'd be like, "You know what? All that needs is money. Cool, I'll give you some."
Huh. Was that your approach to the investors?
It ended up being like that. We got no's from everyone we asked money for. And then the one time I book an advice session with Justin from Twitch, he's like, "Oh, this sounds interesting. Maybe I'll put some money in."
Huh. Did you read that quote or that approach, or it just came naturally to you?
It's just what ended up happening. And then when over time you realize that a lot of people kind of go by this
So it's
specific
just
thing.
not, yeah, it's not a hard sales pitch. It's like,
Yeah.
just be a good person, be inquisitive, ask questions, ask the right people, and they'll believe in you and help you.
Yeah, and so then you have to be a good person and have a good product. I mean, that's a given. Like
Yeah.
you shouldn't deserve funding if you're not that.
Yeah.
But often the advice approach reaps way more rewards than flat out asking for money.
Ritesh, I need money for my podcast. Will you give it to me so I can scale
No,
it?
but I'll teach you how to run a podcast.
That's not why I started the podcast. I just started the podcast to meet interesting people like you. Mate, it's an incredible story. I am so honored to have had the chance to sit down with you. Can you finish this sentence for me? AI will ...
Help humanity to get to where it needs to go to.
Do you know where that is? Are you spiritual?
I mean, I'm not religious, so I have to be something. So yeah, I would say that like, I would
But
say,
you like... Here you go.
I think about more of it is like people are the ones that are going to help you. You should be good to them. And I kind of really
Yeah.
stand by that. And if that's spiritual, that's spiritual.
Yeah, you seem like you have a thirst for people connection. You bring people together. That's part of like what you're doing. And that's your whole story of what you told me today is just like stories of meeting people, celebrating with people, having fun, sharing music. That's, to me, sounds like
I mean,
dream.
it's really great because like we threw this after hours rave at South by Southwest in 2018 and 2019 and did it like 2 a.m. till 6 a.m. open bar, invite only, industry only, VCs, founders, music people, and didn't just do it one night. We did it like 5 nights in a row. And the number of people that come to me years later, they're like, "Oh, I met my co-founder at your party, or I did, this random business connection happened," and it's great. It's a really nice feeling.
That would definitely make you feel good, even with the hangover. And are you an extrovert?
Yes, but then I'm also happy just staying in on the weekend. But like, I love
And
running around.
coding?
Yeah.
But it's weird. Like coders aren't usually people.
No, they're not. They're not.
So
So
it's
like, I
weird.
think
It's different.
over the years, people have thought I was the sales and marketing guy. They've never picked
Yeah.
like I'm deploying code from the middle of the rave. Like I've logged into the production systems from my phone and deployed code before at the back of a dance floor. And like it happens more often than you might think. Like I was at Burning Man in 2018 and some bug happened with the production system. And I don't know how familiar with Burning Man, but they had this, 747 plane that got converted into an ARC car at Burning Man. And I managed to like stand on the edge of the wing, get 1 bar signal, log into one of the servers, edit the code on the phone screen and push it into production and push a bug fix.
What? You strike me now. I know we should probably wrap, but I gotta ask you, what story do you have up your sleeve that I have not extracted from you? Even that story alone of pushing code changes on the edge of a 747 at a festival with 1 bar signal is ridiculous.
It is ridiculous.
Is there anything else that you've got in your locker of like ridiculous things that you've done?
I don't think I can quote something specifically, but just imagine lots of stories like that.
Okay. See, you've got a wealth. You're the type of person that if anyone sees Ritesh at a bar, it sounds like you might get an opportunity off mic, offline to get a good story.
Yeah, always. I actually wear this gold shiny hoodie a lot, and it kind of gives people this like anchor of where they've seen me around the world. So when we got covered on TechCrunch, like Josh Constantine, who was the editor of TechCrunch at the time, actually mentioned the gold hoodie in the piece because
Wow.
it's like the one thing that people, and this is actually a good strategy, right? Like find one thing that's memorable about you that people remember, and then like if you're in a room or you're at a gig or you're at a conference or whatever, and people see that like that specific thing that they know about you, it's a lot easier to recognize you in a crowd and then for them to come over and it's a talking point. So like those things are quite good strategies. That's served me really well over time.
Fantastic advice. There's a lot of people on the planet and you need to stand out. A lot of people doing the same things. So it's great advice. I hope one day I see a gold hoodie at a festival and I tap you on the shoulder, turn around. Hopefully it's you and not someone else mimicking you. And I get a chance to see you doing live code fixes, or we just get a chance to have another chat.
Absolutely. That'd be great.
Mate, it was so good to meet you. You are like ridiculous. I've really, really enjoyed this conversation.
Really
And
appreciate it.
yeah, and I wish you all the best for the future. And after this, I'll definitely ping a whole heap of people that I know going, if you haven't checked this platform out, please do. For anyone listening, share it with your friends. It's all about this community. And thanks for being on the podcast and thanks for your time. I know you're traveling at the moment, hence your really funky chair that I tried to mimic. But I just loved your
Thank you,
storytelling.
Thanks a lot. Sales and marketing guy. They've never picked the, like, I'm deploying code from the middle of the rave. Like I've logged into the production systems from my phone and deployed code before at the back of a dance floor. And like, it happens more often than you might think. Like, I was at Burning Man in 2018 and some bug happened with the production system. And I don't know how familiar with Burning Man, but they had this, 747 plane that got converted into an arc car at Burning Man. And I managed to like stand on the edge of the wing, get 1 bar signal, log into one of the servers, edit the code on the phone screen and push it into production, push a bug fix